The New York Rangers have gotten off to an excellent start under new head coach Peter Laviolette. The team is 11-2-1, currently with 23 points. They're third in the NHL, second in the East, and first in the Metro. As of today, November 13th. Some key notes: Adam Fox still out on long-term injured reserve thanks to a Sebastian Aho hit in a 2-1 win in MSG on November 2nd. He is not eligible to come back until after the Red Wings game on the 29th of November. We're going to talk about that a little more later. And in the same game, Filip Chytil and Jesper Fast collided. Filip Chytil has not played since then either. Well, again, we're going to get into that much more later. I didn't like the hit on Adam Fox from Sebastian Aho. Hopefully Filip Chytil could be back in the lineup on Saturday. He did not skate today, Monday. So opening night was against the Buffalo Sabres. The New York Rangers won 5-1. It was a great night. Debuted a brand new second line of Filip Chytil, Artemi Panarin, and Alexei Lafreniere. Artemi Panarin started the season off with 2 points. Chris Kreider had a power play goal and a shorthanded goal. Game 2 of the season on the road, they drop it to the Columbus Blue Jackets. A Boone Jenner hat trick. That was a game where there were 3 goals called back in the first period. The Rangers got screwed out of 2 of them. They still willed their way to 3 goals, 2 of them in the third period. But game 3 was a good one in MSG. Opening night against the Arizona Coyotes, the Rangers win 2-1. Vincent Trocheck with an important power play goal stood as the game winner. Chris Kreider scored that game as well. Game 4 was the worst one of the season against the Nashville Predators, and I had the luxury to be in the building. It was absolutely by far the worst game the New York Rangers have played overall, I would say, and I think you would say as well. And like I said, of course, I had to be in the building. But they have not played a bad game like that since then. In that game, they couldn't get anything going in the offensive zone. It was a real struggle, and I think it's the only time we've seen the Rangers struggle in the offensive zone like that. Games 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 were all wins, part of the 5-0 road trip. Can you believe it? The Rangers win 5 games on the road. They swept Western Canada, which, I mean, feels like they have not done in a very long time. Just a nice relief to sweep a road trip in Western Canada and then go 5-0. First time you go 5-0, franchise history. It's sweet relief. They started that trip off with a 4-1 win over the Seattle Kraken. I did not watch any of that game, unfortunately. The lights actually delayed that game, I remember. Crazy. But yeah, the Rangers win 4-1. Jonathan Quick started that game. The Rangers gave up a goal in the first 9 minutes on Seattle's third shot of the game. Seattle had 2 shots in the first 30 seconds and then none until they scored 9 minutes in. And then Quick was good the rest of the way, which is going to be a story throughout this video or throughout the show. We're talking about Jonathan Quick and how effective he has been. And thankfully, he has been effective as a Rangers backup goaltender. But yeah, they really limited Seattle the whole game after that. Points in 5 straight for Panarin up to that point. Him and Laffy had a great game along with Filip Chytil. In game 6, they had 3 second period goals. The Rangers to edge themselves over Calgary. Game 7 was a Jonathan Quick shootout win in Edmonton. Couldn't stay awake for either of the Alberta games, unfortunately. Games 8 and 9 were back-to-back overtime wins over Vancouver, then Winnipeg, to get all points on the road trip. It's the first time, like I said before, the Rangers went 5-0 on a 5-game road trip. And, I mean, usually when teams go on a road trip early in the season, they bond. To go 5-0 on that road trip, I mean, the bond was tight. I mean, now this is 2 weeks removed from that. The bond is still very tight. You can see that in the locker room. The camaraderie in that room looks amazing, especially after wins. It was great. I watched the Winnipeg game in that. I watched the Winnipeg game. I did not watch the Vancouver game. So now we move on to game 10, Rangers Hurricanes. This is the Carolina game. Rangers win 2-1. This is where Filip Chytil and Adam Fox get hurt. The Filip Chytil play, it's an unfortunate play where Jesper Fast, he ends up on the wrong side of it. It's just considered upper body. We're not even too sure what it is. I don't think it's his concussion. You know, we know he has concussion history, but I don't think it's that. I do think it might have been his arm in the collision with Jesper Fast. Hopefully he can possibly come back on Saturday, like I said earlier, against the Devils. He did not skate today. They have a few days off, so they're probably not going to skate for a few days. But yeah, the Aho and Fox play I didn't like. No suspension to Aho. Fox out at least until December. It's a crazy situation. Again, I didn't like the play. I think it's really easy for NHL players to make things look accidental. They're professionals. They're really, really good at what they do. Even though the game is played at a really high speed, players at this level know how to control their bodies. And I think Aho caught Fox in a vulnerable position because Aho got beat. Mike Rupp said it in a very good breakdown. Mike Rupp, former New York Ranger, now on NHL Network, giving great analysis on games, on plays. Yeah, and like I said, I think Aho, and he said as well, he thinks Aho got caught. He got beat, and he did. Fox had a clean path to the goal, and he got clipped by Aho. And it's a very unfortunate play. And I think Aho just got caught. He got beat, and Fox ended up taking a bad hit. And now he's out until December. I don't think that's right, personally. I just don't think that's right. Now Fox has to be out until at least December. He had a great start to the season, and it's just very unfortunate. But the Rangers do win that game 2-1 thanks to Will Cuylle, man, coming up huge. We're going to talk about Will Cuylle a lot more in a little bit. But Will Cuylle, man, I love the way he's been playing. And he gets that big goal in the third period against the Hurricanes, ends up becoming the game winner. Game 11 on the road in Minnesota. I didn't watch the first 2 periods. I did watch the third. The Rangers scored 3 goals in the first and chased Filip Gustafsson. Rangers give up 4 straight goals before a clutch goal by a loaded line, and we've seen this from Laviolette a couple times so far this season where he loads up Panarin, Zibanejad, Kreider on a line, and it works in this game in Minnesota. The Wild come back down from 3-0. Take a 4-3 lead in the third period, and then the Rangers load up a line. They tie the game. Chris Kreider on a deflection. And that's a big face-off win by the Rangers as well to win that offensive zone draw. Good goal by Chris Kreider and a tip-in, but they do lose that game in a shootout. To be down Igor now and Fox and Chytil, you don't want to get too into bad habits, so not blowing a 3-0 lead is something you don't want to do, and they haven't done it since then, luckily, knock on wood. And then an original 6 matchup against the Detroit Red Wings. It was an explosive game offensively for the New York Rangers, again led by that second line with Vincent Trocheck now playing with Artemi Panarin and Alexei Lafreniere. Trocheck with the 2 goals. Panarin extends his point streak to start the season to 12 games. And now at this point it's up to 14. Great to see. He has a chance to break it on Saturday night against the Devils. But in the third period, a couple bad moments by the Rangers. But the Rangers do hold on 5-3 for the win. And the Rangers scored a lot of goals without Adam Fox and Filip Chytil in that game. Show some good depth from the team so far. And now going into game 13 against the Wild at the Garden, you want to get your revenge. You don't want to lose this game to them. You already lost to them this year. They're a Western Conference team, but still a home game. You wanted to win this game, and they did that. A home win led offensively once again by Trocheck, Panarin, and Lafreniere. Also, Louis Domingue got to start this game. It was his first NHL appearance since 2022. A huge win for him and the Rangers. Game 14 was another weird one. It was last night against the Blue Jackets. I watched the last 2 games, by the way, the Blue Jackets and the Wild. The Rangers should have tied the game in the second period. Will Cuylle absolutely scored that goal. The refs screwed the Rangers a little bit. And I don't really talk about the narrative too much about the Rangers getting screwed by the refs. However, I do think last night the Rangers absolutely got screwed out of that third goal. And I hate harping on it. I do. I don't really like harping on it because I do think over the course of a game, ebbs and flows, goals get made up and, eventually it kind of gets even out. But when you take a goal away, it's very hard to even out. So Cuyle's goal does not count. I also really didn't love the call on Kuraly that was rescinded from a 5 to a 2. For his whack hit on Lindgren. Just didn't really like it at all. But they did will their way to tie the game again in the third. And it was Alexei Lafreniere's coming out party last night, man. He had a really good game offensively. That whole line did once again. It's been a narrative in my game recaps that I'm doing right now. Seems like every game I'm talking about, Lafreniere's line. I'm calling it the Lafreniere line. Seems to contribute. And it seems to be the main factor. They will their way, like I said, to tie the game. They had the foot on the gas in the whole third period. The Rangers played that third period like they used to get played against when they were kind of in a rebuild in the third period with a lead. They would get caved in and then eventually lose the game. As for the Blue Jackets, I think they'll learn that kind of like how the Rangers have, but it's good to see that the Rangers are now on the other side of that, being the attacking team in the third period down. And I want to talk about the way they tie the game up. I know Lafreniere scored the goal, but Vincent Trocheck wins 3 crucial faceoffs in that last minute-ish in the third period. Again, they've never really been that team to do that, and they did it again. They did it last night. We'll talk about faceoffs in a little bit, actually soon. But we'll get into a lot of stats. They don't tie that game up without Vincent Trocheck winning faceoffs in that third period, in that last minute in the third period. And Lafreniere, like I said, he ties the game up. It's a very good play by Chris Kreider in front of the net. Lafreniere taps it in, and then he gets the game winner in the shootout on a beautiful backhander, man. He's got one of the most underrated backhands in the NHL. No one talks about that enough. But it was a beautiful goal by Lafreniere in the shootout. Jonathan Quick makes all 3 saves in the shootout. He's been such a big story, Jonathan Quick, for the New York Rangers, especially with Igor Shesterkin out. It's just great to see the Rangers' depth, at every position, essentially, at every position right now. That game was all about redemption, man. The refs weren't helping you out. Quick bailed you a little bit in the second period. He made a big save. I just talked about how important he was. He made a big save in the second period after the disallowed goal. Let's get into some Rangers ranks. I want to talk about where the Rangers rank in the NHL at this point. All stats courtesy of NHL.com. So right now their power play is second best in the NHL at 33%. The penalty kill is sixth best at 86.7%. And you want to know the best out of them all? I want to just talk about it right now. And it's a stat I never really thought I'd see in my lifetime that the New York Rangers would have at any point in the season. I know we're only a month in, but, a month in, it's pretty solid. They're second place in the league in faceoff percentage with 56 and only 0.4% behind Pittsburgh. So, essentially, a number one faceoff team, the New York Rangers. And it's the Michael Pekka effect. And let me tell you, Vincent Trocheck under Michael Pekka is electric factory. Talk about Trocheck's importance in a little bit as well and how important the faceoffs have been for him. The Rangers are third in goals against per game with 2.14. They're really comfortable with that number. I think Peter Laviolette will like to keep that number, keep it around that number. It'll be hard over an 82-game season. There's going to be some ups and downs. We all know that. But I think it's a good sign that the team is playing very sound, structured defense hockey in front of all their goaltenders at the moment. And let's be honest right here. Let's be honest. Our goalies are good. The New York Rangers goaltenders are good. As of right now, Jonathan the Quick is back. And once Igor Shesterkin gets healthy, I'm sure he'll get into a groove and be back as well. So it's always a good sign when your goaltenders are playing good. Now let's look at the team's doing production-wise. Highlighted in gold at the top is Artemi Panarin. He's been the team's MVP this year. Since I can recall as being a Ranger fan, I do remember Marian Gaborik signing in New York and playing his years in New York. He was absolutely the best free agent signing within my time until 2019 when Artemi Panarin signed. He has absolutely been the best free agent signing in my lifetime, and he is hitting another level that I really didn't even know he could hit, honestly. Like when he came in 1920, he was explosive. And I really didn't think he can go past that. He's past that. Under Laviolette with Lafreniere, I think Lafreniere's giving him a little juice. Artemi Panarin. I think Alexei Lafreniere is giving him a little more youth to him, to Panarin. Panarin's not old, but he's not as young as he used to be. So I think playing with Panarin is giving him a little more juice. It's been really good to see. And now he's delivering at an insane rate in year 5 as a Ranger. 24 points in 14 games, 8 goals and 16 assists. Currently tied with Rod Gilbert for most games with a point to start a season with 14. It is a Ranger record. He has a chance to break it on Saturday. He has a chance to break a Rod Gilbert record. Like, do you know how crazy that is from a Rangers perspective? It's insane. It's incredible to see. Let's keep it on that line. Let's keep it on that line and talk about a guy who's helping Panarin, like I was just talking about before. He's helping him reach his full potential while also getting his full potential reached. It's Alexei Lafreniere. And just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Lafreniere has the game he had last night. Fingerprints were all over it. I'm calling it right now. It was his coming out party. Him and Panarin have found a chemistry now. They're working well together, whether it's with Vinny T or Filip Chytil. It's awesome to see the number 1 overall pick play with a superstar. And it's helped with last production as well. 7 goals and 4 assists in the 14 games played. The former number 1 overall pick is looking exactly that. Let's talk about that second line. Whether it's with Trocheck or Chytil, they are driving the play up the ice. They are working well, establishing a forecheck in the offensive zone. And it's just great to see that all 3 of them look better and more explosive and dynamic in the offensive zone. Because let's be honest, the 3 of them can probably stick handle in a phone booth better than anyone else on this team, beside maybe Adam Fox. I think they have 3 of the most skilled players on one line on the team. They're all dynamic. They all can create offense. They can all explode. Coupled with Chytil's fondness for the two-way game, it's just a pretty line. It's just a very pretty line. Again, I think it's my favorite 5-on-5 line thus far. I think they're the best 5-on-5 players thus far. Their advanced stats look incredible every night. They might not win a couple of games out west if that line's not going. So again, hopefully after the bye week, Filip Chytil can come back after he was injured against the Hurricanes. In the 10 games Filip Chytil's played, he has 6 assists and is yet to record a goal this season. So we're hoping Filip Chytil can come back, hopefully Saturday, and reunite with Panarin, and hopefully Panarin can break that Gilbert streak. The last 4 games has featured Trocheck on that line with Panarin and Lafreniere. And what do you know? The line has still produced as well. We've seen Trocheck now score some goals in the last few games as well. His total on the season is 4 goals, 7 assists. But Trocheck had a really good start to the season with the third line with Wheeler and Cuylle. Trocheck's faceoff percentage has been a huge difference maker for this team winning games, plain and simple. I mean, it's legitimately been a factor for them winning games. Players to take at least 50 faceoffs so far this season in the NHL, Vinny Trocheck ranks number 1 at 64.4% this year. And he's taken 250 faceoffs. So it's awesome. Michael Pekka, former NHLers, come in, help this team win the faceoffs, giving the Rangers a brand new faceoff transformation that they've been looking for since I've been born. Really, legitimately. They've been looking for this faceoff transformation since I've been born. It's refreshing to see. Great to win faceoffs, man. It helps you win games. I used to be satisfied when they'd win 50% of the draws and then just like try to look the other way when they'd win 20% of the draws. Legitimately. Like, that's how bad it was. And I used to think that they were just never a face-off team. And then Michael Pekka comes in and overnight they're a brand new face-off team. And like I said, it's legitimately helped them win games. Look at last night's game with Vincent Trocheck. Let's talk about all the centers real quick. Trocheck has a 66.7% face-off percentage, but it's best in the league. Nick Bonino has a 58.6 percentage. Goody at 57, Mika at 53, and hopefully when Filda comes back, he could improve from the 40% he has. Because if he can get his face-off percentage up, that line plays better. I don't know if he's going to be taking face-offs. We saw him not really taking that many face-offs when he was in the lineup. Let's move a little bit into the goaltenders. Igor, before his injury, had a good start to the season. His last 4 games were all wins, 3 of them on the road in Western Canada. He's 6-2 with a 2.36 goals against and .913 save percentage. I know he's hurt right now, but Igor was playing well in net. But there is another level to Igor Shesterkin, and we haven't seen it yet this season. And we all know when healthy and on, Igor steals more games than a lot of goaltenders in the league. And the Rangers have a huge advantage every night when he's in net. It's a very good luxury. Hall of Famer-esque, if you know what I mean. Anyway, it's a good feeling. The Rangers have felt that before. Anyway. Jonathan Quick, also, my goodness, what a surprise he's been for the Rangers, turning back the clock to 2014. He won last night's 4-3 game over the Blue Jackets, made some really big saves in that one, including one on Roslovic in the final minute of the second period. The Rangers just had the Cuylle goal reviewed off, and Quick was tested. He came up big. Rangers win that game, and a big reason is because of Jonathan Quick in the shootout, making all 3 saves in the Blue Jackets. Quick has played in 6 games, started 5 of them. He's 4-0-1 with a 1.98 goals against average and .928 save percentage. And Domingue played the 1 game as of now. He's won the only debut game he's played as a Ranger over the Wild. Only 1 goal against in that game, spicy pork and broccoli. It was awesome to see Domingue get his first regular season win since January 2022. His first win in the NHL since the playoffs of 2022 with the Penguins. The long-awaited talk now. We can finally start talking about the first line. I know you guys have been waiting for it. So Zibanejad and Kreider, right? Offensive numbers of 5-on-5 haven't been amazing. I think they've been okay, not great. Advanced analytics are not good. Chris Kreider does have a 5-on-5 goal last night, and honestly, I think it's been a little bit better with Blake Wheeler on that line over Kakko. And whether it's been Kakko or Blake Wheeler for the past 2 or 3 games, like I said, their advanced analytics haven't been great. But as of right now, it isn't really hurting the team to where they need to really make drastic changes. I think they have a luxury that they're 11-2-1, and now we're able to put Blake Wheeler on that first line and see how he looks. See how Kakko looks on the third line. And like I said, they literally scored a big goal 5-on-5 last night. It was 1-0, not a huge goal. It was a 1-0 game in the first period, but it didn't hurt the team. They scored a 5-on-5 goal last night. I think, like I said before, what Laffy has done by moving Wheeler up gives it a new look. And like I said, 14 games into the season, they have the luxury to do this. They really do. They have the luxury to do this. They're winning games. They can do a bunch of line mixing. Unfortunately, they're a little banged up right now. They're going to have to do a bunch of line mixing. But I get it. You want to find consistency, especially when you're labeling that as your first line. And Mika Zibanejad and Chris Kreider get paid a lot of money to not just be special team producers, but to also dominate a game when needed at 5-on-5. It'll come for Kreider and Mika. I'm really not too worried about them. We know Chris Kreider's been one of the streakiest players of all time. He's been one of the greatest Rangers of all time, but he's definitely been one of the streakiest Rangers of all time. We know that. Hopefully when one of them gets going, it snowballs and the other one can get going. And as for Mika Zibanejad, we know it takes a couple months for that one-timer to warm up. He'll be hitting those by December, I bet. Had a 90-plus mile-an-hour shot last night, so it's just about lukewarm temperature, if I would say so. Let's hop over to Blake Wheeler now really quickly, who for the preseason, about the first 10 games of the year, I didn't know if he was going to last on this team at all. But because of the lack of production from Lavy's eyes from the top line, Wheeler had an opportunity to slot in the top line, and he's looked better. I definitely do not think he is the solution for the first line. I talked about over the summer, actually, that he could possibly get a spot on the top line with Zibanejad and Kreider. He didn't start on it, but now he's on it. And as of right now, it doesn't look like he's moving after game 15 now we're at, or game 14, sorry. But he's not a liability anymore, I think. And I think he looked liability-esque in the first 5 games. But like I said, he has not been like that since he's been put on the first line. He's skating much better. He's on the forecheck well. He's making things happen. I think when he was even still on the third line, he had a really good game against Carolina, I thought. Was a difference maker in that game as well. Looks like he's found his game since then. He's been engaged since then. Again, that game against Carolina, I think. 1 goal and 2 assists for him. He had his first Rangers goal against the Wild. That leaves us with Kakko really quickly. We'll get into him as well, who's just been a little bit disappointing so far, getting top-line minutes with Kreider and Mika for the first 10-ish games. And now we just talked about that line struggles a bit, right? And, I mean, every problem needs a solution. So it just sucks that Kakko, as of right now, cannot be the solution for the Rangers' first-line problems. First-line 5-on-5 problems. Because, like I said, there are little issues right now. They're little issues because they're not hurting the team. But it just stinks that Kakko had an opportunity to play on that first line, and he didn't deliver on the production 5-on-5 wise. So Chris Kreider has 10 goals and 4 assists in the 14 games. He's got 10 goals, leads the team, 6 of them on the power play, leads the NHL. Mika Zibanejad has 10 points in 14 games. It's not bad. He's not even going right now, and he's got 10 points in 14 games. I want to make this very, very, very clear. I am not worried about Mika Zibanejad at all. I'll be honest with you. I'm not worried about him at all. I want to make that clear. I'm just kind of pointing out what I'm seeing early, but I do promise you in 4 weeks that Mika Zibanejad will have 15 goals. It's coming for him. It is. Kakko's got the 1 goal and 1 assist in 14 games. Hasn't scored since his tap-in goal, literally on the goal line against Columbus game 2. Just a little bit worried about him a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I'm just a little worried about Kakko. It's okay. It's okay. They're not losing games, but I'm a bit worried. Let's talk about the D-core a little bit. It's been the strongest part of the Rangers game. I mean, their D-core overall has been the reason they've won a lot of games. They are limiting teams' chances, and the D-core looks incredible. Key and Trouba have been the most consistent D pair as of late. That's why they're still together with the Fox injury. They have both cleaned up their game well, and now it looks like they are both vibing off of each other, and which is something you want to see from your D pairings, and it's good to see. Keandre is a guy that benefits from the system of defensemen jumping into the play. Trouba is playing like the defenseman he should be, and he's the captain of this team. I mean, he needs to. He needs to be playing like that, and he's been showing it too. Had a really big hit on Marchenko last night. He's been really effective, which is, like I said, the captain you need to be. You need to be effective. Hitting everything, blocking everything as well. Like I said, that huge hit on Marchenko last night sparked some heat. Trouba got called for the only PIM. Again, the refs, I don't know what they were doing. But Jacob Trouba leads the NHL at the moment with 50 block shots in 14 games. 50 blocks in 14 games for Jacob Trouba. The defensive game also features a 1-3-1 neutral zone trap, which is something that they can use. It's effective. Some of the Rangers have used now so far this season. Foxy is down right now, but his start to the season was Panarin-like. If you want to point out an MVP for this team, you can very well say throughout the first 10, 14 games, it definitely was Adam Fox as well. 11 points in the 10 games before the LTR stint. 3 goals. Can you believe that? He had 3 goals so far. So when he comes back, you never know. He could still have 4, maybe 10 goals this year. So hopefully we can see Adam Fox come back healthy at the beginning of December. And Ryan Lindgren has had a really good start to the season, I think. But I want to talk about his game with Erik Gustafsson, who, by the way, Erik Gustafsson, I'll talk about him in a second more, but is absolutely Chris Drury's best free agent signing this offseason. And I think it may actually be the best free agent signing by anybody this offseason. But Lindy and Gus work well together, honestly. I enjoy seeing them work the puck in the offensive zone. I know we can see that with Fox and Lindgren, so would love to see a little more of that when Fox is healthy with Lindgren. But Gustafsson has been the Rangers' second or third best defenseman. I would say maybe number 2. He's helped support some of that offense from the back end with Fox out. He's PP quarterback 1 at the moment. and it's worked well for the Rangers with him at that position. 3 goals and 7 assists for Erik Gustafsson. He's been especially hot of late with a 4-game point streak, 1 goal, 5 assists in those games. Again, like I said, he's getting a chance on the top power play unit where Adam Fox was. So it's just great to see. We know Erik Gustafsson is a great offensive defenseman, but for $800,000 for this season, it's a great deal by Drury. Let's talk about Jones and Schneider a little bit. Jones has been good when called upon. Still some defensive goals from him. He's been mostly paired with Schneider, who, by the way, Braden Schneider, I thought did not have the best start to the season. I think both of them need to get a little bit of confidence in their game. I know Laffy believes in them, but they can't be afraid to make mistakes. And you know what? While I was a bit upset and discouraged also that Schneider didn't have a great start in his own end this year, it's completely understandable. He's a young defenseman who was really effective under his first head coach in the NHL, who kind of played a system where he was able to benefit from sitting in the back in the defensive zone and defending his net well. So it's taken him some time to adjust to Lavy's defensive, more aggressive, jump up the rush style and be that fourth guy in. And I think he's adjusted well, been a little bit more involved offensively, which is good to see. But it's not just about offense from defensemen, obviously. And I'm not looking for Schneider to be Fox, but I guarantee you that the Rangers and Lavy's mindset is that they can't beat us if they can't score, and they can't score if they're not in our end. Having active defensemen saves plays in the offensive zone, saves plays on the rush. I mean, the Rangers' mindset, I think, is having active defensemen who save plays in the offensive zone. They benefit your defensive game just as much as they benefit your offensive game. And the stats back that up. If you look at the Rangers, they've only given up an average of 27.4 shots per game. That's second in the league. Let's wrap up talking with the bottom 6 now. Nick Bonino, as of right now, is the third-line center, and he has been awesome on the draws this year. We talked about him earlier. He's a shot blocking machine as well. Leads all forwards in block shots, and by a lot too, actually. He has 37 blocks. Boone Jenner next up at 22. Goodrow has been okay. You know my opinion about him if you watch my video over the summer. Although I actually think he has found his legs a bit over the last couple weeks. Birth of a child helped him with that as well, I'm sure. And the team was winning games, so I know early on that fourth line wasn't doing their job. Let's hope this continues. They are on an upward trend. VZ has been excellent. Him and Pitlick have kind of been that 12th, 13th forward. They're both playing with Chytil out right now, though. And I love that I left him last, but we're ready for him. He's nowhere near the bottom of this list in terms of importance for this New York Rangers team, and this is going to be a big section on him. It's rookie Will Cuylle. He's been able to come in and do a really good job, and what he's effective at is being in the offensive zone, playing a straight hard line to the puck game, and he does it well. He's starting to look more comfortable each game, and he's so good on the forecheck and hounding on defenders when their backs are turned. And I'm telling you, he gets to those defenders quickly. I mean, the way he skates such a straight line, it's like he's on those defenders so quickly. Very important for a forecheck, very important in the offensive zone. He's been a catalyst on that bottom 6. I think he's going to end up becoming the soul of that bottom 6. I love the energy the kid plays with. You can see it in his eyes every night. He wants to smash something, and he wants to smash it hard. And I don't think we've seen it yet, but there's a big moment waiting for Will Cuylle. Had that big goal against the Hurricanes. I think that's just a little bit of a taste in what we can see. I think Will Cuylle has a huge, huge season-defining moment. So they're 11-2-1. I mean, still early, but Peter Laviolette is absolutely one of the front runners for Jack Adams and Panarin for the Hart Trophy. The team looks good on paper. They look good on the ice. The locker room vibes look immaculate. It's all a good recipe for a good season. Hope for a magical journey runs through that room every night, and you see it after the wins. The team bond is strong. Laviolette has come in and helped establish that. You see him inviting players, families, and staff for post-practice skates this week. How rare is that? It was so cool to see. It's just a really cool start to Laviolette's career as a Rangers coach. I appreciate you guys listening to my rant, essentially, on the New York Rangers start to the season. It wasn't a bad rant, though. It was a very positive rant. But we're going to get into some NHL news now, and we're going to mostly stick it with some Rangers topics. Henrik Lundqvist is being inducted into the Hall of Fame today. Actually, maybe he already did. A first ballot Hall of Famer. The King is now etched in hockey history forever, along with this year's inductees, including fellow goaltenders Tommy Barrasso and Mike Vernon, along with Pierre Turgeon, Caroline Ouellette. For the players, Pierre Lacroix, an NHL executive, and Ken Hitchcock as well. Pretty solid class. But what I want to talk about now, and I think it's something that you guys are going to end up hearing me talk about a lot, is why are we limiting ourselves to grow the game? From the NHL's point of view, from ESPN's point of view, from anyone who can control this point of view. Henrik Lundqvist, the man who couldn't have a chance to say goodbye on the ice to his fans because his heart wouldn't let him. Why can't we watch him suit up for the first time since he walked away from the game? He played the first 20 minutes, robbed my arch nemesis Ryan Getzlaf point blank. Like, does the NHL think we don't want to see legends battle it out? For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, there was a Hall of Fame Legends game at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto yesterday, and it was not televised. I mean, listen, is it going to draw enough viewers to make money or sell ads? However it goes, not sure. Not sure. But I know with ESPN Plus, there should be access to cool stuff like this. Send a crew there to cover it. It's cool stuff. It's awesome for hockey fans to see of any age. And speaking of ESPN Plus, what happened in the crease? I used to wake up every morning and be able to watch every single goal from the night before. What happened? What happened in this world? But I know the NHL this year has done an awesome job promoting games. I mean, I do want to give them some credit. They've been doing a really good job promoting the game itself more. Bedard has been everywhere. A lot of young players have been everywhere. They've been doing a good job, but don't limit yourselves, man. Don't limit yourselves. If there's another level you can go to it. Be that league that goes to it. I mean, I missed the last Hank goose egg of his career, probably. And, he played 20 minutes. He stopped everything in the shootout. I wanted to see that. I really did. People love access to whatever they can get, especially when they're paying for a couple of services for your business, man. Like, come on. You pay for ESPN cable to watch every single game. You're asking not a lot, but you're asking a couple ways for people to go out of the way a little bit to get your product. Give them everything they can get. Give them everything they can get. Oilers make a head coaching change after an abysmal start. Out is Jay Woodcroft, in is Chris Knobloch, the former Wolfpack head coach. Completely changed the team in organization. That is the Hartford Wolfpack. The team is now on an upward climb thanks to Chris Knobloch. It's going to be a tough climb for him now in the situation he's in Edmonton. But he's going to get Hall of Famer Paul Coffey to help assistant coach. Knobloch coached McDavid and Erie, also Connor Brown and Warren Fogle. The Oilers are the second worst team in the NHL point-wise with the best player in the world. And he doesn't look 100%. I get that. But I want to talk about more as like a whole picture of Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. There's still no excuse for how that team is played, which is not good. I know goaltending's been the main issue. Not good to put up only 2 goals against the Sharks. So a lot of work to do there in Edmonton. I don't think the coaching change will provide a quick fix. There is some trouble in oil country for the season being a waste. And you don't want that for the best player in the world on your roster to be in last place and to have a waste of a season. Like, did we ever see Sidney Crosby or Alexander Ovechkin on last place teams in the primes of their career at 25, 26 years old? They were never in last place. It just can't be happening. It just can't be happening. All right, I'm at blank now on my screen. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys for listening. However this goes up. Yeah, but I wrote around 33 pages of a script on my Google Doc, and I read most of it. I read all of it. We talked about the Rangers. I hope you guys enjoyed. But yeah, reaction videos will be back soon. Reaction videos will be back hopefully Saturday against the Devils. Hopefully we'll do one. I appreciate every single one of you guys for watching. Please share however you guys share this video. Share it. Send it to people, and leave a like however you would wish.